Hello and welcome to Forever Olympics on Forever Sports. And day 5 at the Olympics for Team South Africa was a day which Tatiana Schoenmaker once again, grabbing the headlines. And I think she's fast becoming probably one of the best and if not the most important athletes within that Team South Africa squad. And I think somebody who's going to be very important in the years to come. Just 24 years old, she's sort of coming into a peak. And I think we've got a very, very bright career ahead of us. But also across the day, a lot of very good individual performances in the pool. And I think the pool is somewhere that we are looking, and I think we've got a very bright future in the pool. We've always been a very, very strong participating nation in the pool. A lot of our medals have come from the swimming pool, and we've always had some very good swimmers, world record holders, gold medalists, and across a whole bunch of different disciplines as well. So it's not sort of surprising, but it's good to sort of see that there does seem to be a bit of a knock-on effect after what we had. We had a big couple of glory years, didn't we? Between Chad de Clos and Cameron van den Berg, and those two sort of really sort of cleaning up. It was good to see us sort of kick on from those years, and now we're starting to see some very good youngsters coming through. But Joe, before we break the entire day down, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. The day started with the rowing, where our men's four finished fourth in the B final. They weren't in contention for a medal and finishing fourth out of four, so not the best Olympics showing from then. They probably would have learned to do a little bit better. Just getting to the A final, I think, would have been a nice touch. But they essentially sort of came eighth, didn't they? Is the story. And then our hockey side, women's lost to the Netherlands 5-0. We've had a bit of a hard time with the hockey, and I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that we don't play enough international competition, within our union, stuff like that. The fact that this is the first time our men's have been there since, I think it was a Beijing 2008. I think it was almost actually the last time we had our men's hockey there. So it's been a long time coming that we've been waiting sort of for our hockey side to get there. And I think that they'll grow from this experience. And the nice thing is, there's quite a few young players. And at the end of the day, the Olympics comes across 4 years, which, maybe for a sprinter or for a swimmer, for example, you might only be able to sort of get to 2 or maybe 3. But, for somebody playing hockey, it's more about the team. And if you can have a core team, that core team can still sort of grow within 4 years, and you can grow together. I think in individual events, you've got, you're essentially competing against yourself as well as other people. How far can you push yourself? Can you get to that time? And that time will be good whether it's done now or then or whenever. And you can perfect that time by yourself. Whereas team sports, it takes those times a year. So if we could get a side together, you look at our women's water polo side, the fact that the average age is 22, which means in the next Olympics, their average age will be about 25 if it's a similar squad. And those sort of players who are sort of 18, 17, they'll suddenly be in, sort of 21, 22, which is still very, very young, but far more mature, far more sort of ready at that international stage. And I think that's why it's important that we have sent so many of these team events over there to try and make sure they get this experience and they grow from it. As a result. So whilst I think our team performances have not been much to write home about, it's important that they get this exposure. Maybe less so to the football, because I think when the under 23 side, it's kind of a new side every single time. But definitely in your water polo, your hockey, and those sort of sports like that. Our rugby sevens ended up coming 5th. They beat Australia and then beat the USA to come 5th. And I think it was important for them to respond today. After going down yesterday, people were very disappointed. They were a potential gold medal hope, let alone any medal. And the fact that they, were knocked out against Argentina, who did eventually claim bronze, but with Austria down to a man down, it was very disappointing because we thought that was a pretty sure medal, with the talent in that 7 side. So, but it was good for them to respond today and say, we let everybody down yesterday, but we were back today. We were flying the flag high, and they finished on a high. Chad de Clos came 5th in the 200-meter butterfly final. He was always very much an outside chance to medal, and 5th, he's 2 places away. So he was quite upset about it. He said, it hurts a lot, but he's got another opportunity in the pool in the early hours of the morning in the 100 meters. So hopefully, you might be able to see a potential medal there from him. And the cycling women's individual time trial, we saw Ashley Moolman-Pasio actually put in a very, very good performance. She was, in fact, leading at one stage. She ended up coming 8th out of 25, which is a very, very good showing. I think that athletes like that we don't know too much about or might not be, be big medal favorites, to see them put in those type of performances is very special, especially athletes who can potentially be coming back in a couple of years. Being able to sort of put yourself on the map, it just puts yourself in the window, as I said, in terms of getting coached, in terms of getting the support, the financial backing. Bianca Buitendijk, for example, today announcing that she is actually retiring from surfing, and that was her sort of swan song. So hopefully that what she did yesterday will inspire the next generation and give people sort of exposure so that our surfers and we look at our coastline. We've got a massive coastline. You've got Jeffreys Bay, which is a phenomenal surfing location. We've got the talent. It's whether a case, can they get the financial backing? Can they get the right coaching? And hopefully, sort of these sort of athletes being out there in the world stage and being in front of the public eye, that gives them the exposure to be able to find the funding to sort of generate the next generation. In the men's time trial, Stefan de Bot ended up finishing 14th. So a little bit worse than Ashman Women, but within the top 20, within the top 15, so that's a decent showing as well. In the sailing, Leo Davis in the Finn race, and Benjamin Daniel and Alex Berger, struggling a little bit, sort of coming in the lower half of the tables. And they've got more race stuff like tomorrow, but aren't really sort of any sort of medal hopes. But once again, a similar thing, put sailing in the map, put this idea in the map, get yourself out there, get people noticing you. Our women's water polo side lost Canada 21 points to 1, which I think, marks the end of their campaign, if I'm not mistaken. But again, it's about the learning experience. But the very, very good news is we were electric in the pool in the second session. And let's just look at it. The women's 100-meter freestyle heats, Erin Gallagher coming second in her heat through to the semis. The men's 200-meter backstroke, Martin Benedal second in his heat. The women's 200-meter breaststroke, Kaylin Corbett, won heat 2 and is into the semi. And then the performance of the day, Tatiana Schoenmaker, heat 4, 1, qualified top of the bunch into the semi-final with another new Olympic record, 2 minutes 19 seconds 16 hundredths of a second. She is once again a hot favorite for a medal. She and both her and Kaylin Corbett will be trying to push for that final spot. It would be brilliant if Kaylin Corbett can also get into it. If we could have two swimmers in that women's 200-meter breaststroke, that would be such a nice story in terms of it's progression. And Kaylin Corbett also very young, 22 years old, so she'll be 25 at the next Olympics. So let's really hope that those two push. But you've got to think that this is Schoenmaker's favorite event. This is what she is good at. This is her bread and butter. So if there was going to be any event, and I think she was about 0.05 of a second off the world record, she is really close. I think she's the fastest qualifier, but by over 2 seconds. So she's looking really, really good in this event. And I think that, if she doesn't overdo it, if she doesn't panic, I think she would have learned from her final. It's hers to lose. It really is hers to lose. And if she can come away from her first Olympics with a gold and a silver, that would be sensational. Even 2 silvers, even a silver and a bronze, to get 2 medals would be really, really good from her. And then the men's 200 meter individual medley, Matthew Sates, who today turned 18 years old, came 5th in his heat and qualified for the semi-final. Now, how's that for talent? He'll be 21 in the next Olympics. He'll be 25 in the Olympics after that, 29 in the Olympics after that. We're talking about somebody who could go into 4 different games. In fact, 18 years old, out there and doing it. And he will be in action again tomorrow as well. Obviously not in the semi-final, but also in the butterfly, which is his favorite stroke. And then our women's 4x200 meter freestyle relay, they didn't qualify for the final, but they did set an African record. So it was a really good showing from them. This is what I said. In the pool, we had a really, really good day in that second session. Football, ending up the day, wasn't great. SA losing 3-0 to Mexico. They're officially out of the tournament. Had a really, really good match against France, but at the end of the day, we're kind of outclassed the entire tournament. Didn't really pitch up against Japan. A very comprehensively beaten today against Mexico. And it's just frustrating that for a sport that we do put quite a lot of funding in, still we haven't really been able to make much of a mark on the international stage. That was the wrap-up in terms of your forecast. Right, tomorrow at midnight tonight, at midnight, Garrick Hicher and Christian Bezedner will be setting out in the first round of the men's golf. Both very, very, very accomplished golfers. So I think, I'm not sure we go as far as say their medal hopes. But golf's a funny thing. Garrick Hicher winning one of the tours in the PGA, one of the competitions in the PGA Tour a couple of weeks ago. So he's definitely sort of somebody to watch for the future. Very, very young. At 3 o'clock in the morning, we've got BMX racing quarterfinals, where Alex Limber will be representing South Africa. There will be 3 runs in that race, so you do the same thing 3 times, and then they sort of pick the best and moving into the semi-finals. As I said, our sailors will once begin action tomorrow. Then hockey, South Africa taking on Germany tomorrow at 4:45. And then finally, the stuff that you really want to watch tomorrow is the swimming, where we're going to have both Kaylin Corbett and Tatiana Schoenmaker in the 200-meter breaststroke semi-finals, pushing to try and qualify for the final. You have Matthew Sates, who's in the semi-final. The men's 200 individual medley, that's at 5:15. And then the men's 100-meter butterfly semi-final, you've got, in the heats, you've got Matt Sates as well as Chad Leclos. That's tomorrow in the second session at about 12 o'clock. I think it's between 12 and 1. So that's your forecast for tomorrow. Make sure you go and catch all that action. If you don't, however, we will be doing another wrap-up tomorrow, so you can catch all the action right here. Thank you very much for watching. Smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. My name is Stephen. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat to you guys soon.